Hello everybody and welcome to a new V-Rising video. Today we're going to go into the V-Rising combat and show how it's broken down into 3 different types of combat that people will be generally familiar with. Those 3 different types of combat are melee, ranged and spells. Now throughout V-Rising there'll be many different enemy types, from woodland creatures and villagers to great beasts and powerful guards. So you as the player must hone your vampire abilities to annihilate your enemies in order to gather those important resources for your vampire and your castle. And yes, your castle will need a constant flow of resources. If you're interested in learning more about your castle, then watch my previous video, you should be able to see the link. Melee and ranged combat aren't only just going to be focused on how you build your character through the progression tree, but also in the equipment that you use. For melee combat, you should think about using a weapon, such as a scythe, to slice through your enemies with ease. You'll be able to craft weapons at various different stations in your castle, which will include improving them and using other materials that are linked with the game's overall progression. Think of the system in Valheim as the example. Ranged combat will be in the same vein as melee combat, as your equipment will be the big focus here, and generally how you progress through the skill tree. That will impact how powerful you can be at range, and in some instances may just be the safest way to fight certain creatures. And then last but not least are spells. Your vampire comes equipped with a spell book, which allows them to use spells on their enemies. These spells can be used to attack at range, deal heavy AoE attacks, focus on single target, or could help you close the gap to get face to face with whatever you are attacking. There's a lot here when it comes to spells, and a lot of different ways you can build your characters. Spells are there to just benefit you as the player, and can complement your style of attack, whether or not that is melee or ranged. Of course, equipment and the skill tree aren't going to be the only thing that can impact your combat abilities. There are various types of bloods in the game that you can get from enemies, and I don't mean type A positive. The blood you collect can be categorized from the individual you get it from. For example, if you consumed blood from a soldier, your melee skills will have improved. Same with a hunter. If you consume their blood, your range skills will improve. These blood effects are temporary, but could be the difference between beating that world boss or taking over the entire town before the sun rises. But this is just a super quick look into the combat system in V-Rising. I'm yet to play the game, but I'm really interested to see what combinations I can make when in combat. Of course, all of this is more or less speculation just from the trailers and all of the information that Stunlock Studios has actually released on the game so far. So there are instances where I could be wrong and have made a mistake. But what about you? Do you have a particular build that you'd like to try? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing for more V-Rising content. But for now, thank you everybody, have a great rest of your day.